Hey everybody, I'm Lisa
I'm Chris.
and we're in it cheap. Thanks for joining us today.
Our mother says we're supposed to tell you all to please like and subscribe. So please like and subscribe.
Yes.
She's like very adamant about
She's
that.
like, you didn't say like and subscribe.
After he was like, did you say like and subscribe? Yeah. So for our mother's sake, please like and subscribe.
Thank you, yes. Oh. So, are we going to lead with the news?
Oh, okay, sure.
We just wanted to let you guys know that we are going to be closing down our physical store. You know, between the pandemic and our move and everything, it's just not a thing happening well right now.
Yeah.
So we decided to, although we're going to close the storefront, we're going to stay open online. So we're going to create community. Mm-hmm. We're going to do classes. We're going to do events. And we're going to do all the things we kind of love to do with our online presence.
And we will still be having Sit and Stitch on Sundays 1 to 3 online, and trying to figure out a way to do occasional in-person Sit and Stitch as well.
Yeah.
So we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, you're stuck with us.
Get used to these mugs.
Yeah. So, on to the stuff. I think that's all we know for right this minute.
Yeah, pretty much.
We don't have any more details.
I will be closing in December.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, on to the good stuff. You have a finished object.
I do. And I have lowered its wonk coefficient by a lot, but it still has a slight wonk coefficient.
Really?
Yes, I'm trying to just minimize. I don't think I'll be able to eliminate the wonk coefficient in my thing, but if I can keep it to a minimum, I'll be very happy. So I finished the vest, and she has a name now.
Oh.
Yes, she's called Vest 2.0 because I made it twice. So here she is.
Ah.
And she's open-sided. So it's only seamed at the waistband and the shoulder. And this is using universal Colorburst, and then trimmed with Ultra Truth, which is a merino and alpaca, which feels amazing.
I knew you'd like that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. I was just looking at their website, see if I can get any more. But it's really cute. I did alternating rows of half doubles and double crochets in the third loop. Mm-hmm. And so that just gives me these little ridges that I think complements the horizontal stripes so nicely. And let's talk about why I made it twice.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
So basically it came down to a sizing issue. And it was a sizing issue that would not have been, it's measurements, my body measurements, taking those properly wasn't the issue, and swatching wasn't the issue. It was just making the pieces to the wrong size, thinking I needed it one size that I didn't, because I didn't anticipate how having those open sides would affect the fit. So I thought of it like I was making a sweater, but just with the sides not being seamed. And that's not what I was doing. I was making a whole other thing. And because I made it, about the same dimensions I would make the body of a sweater, there was so much extra fabric. The first time I tried it on, it just kind of did this big lump thing in the front that was very unflattering. So I realized I just needed to shrink the pieces down a lot. When you do like a drop shoulder sweater, your shoulder seam will come past your shoulder a little bit. You don't want that with this. You want it to stay up here. So I just narrowed that measurement down a whole lot. In fact, I could have shrunk it down probably a little bit more in terms of the length. I think it ended up being about 18.5 inches long. I think 17 would have probably been fine.
Now, does that include the waistband?
Yeah. But I'm happy with how it fits, because this will always be worn over another garment. So you did want to have a little extra room in it to have a shirt on underneath. But when I tried this on, much better than the first time around.
Oh, yeah.
But like I said, I tried it on both times because I had made a complete vest twice and ripped it out. Now, Lisa's working with this yarn, and she did some ripping out on her project. She says she didn't have any trouble with it.
Yeah, it was weird.
Found this yarn very unforgiving.
How Hashtag unforgiving.
So it did not come out well for me. As a matter of fact, when I, getting down to the last bit that I was trying to rip out, it, single ply, so I popped it.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? I'm almost done. I don't think I'll
fine.
need that little piece anyway. So it worked out. But I was like, maybe instead of ripping it out, I should just get another ball. But I didn't want to do that.
Let me ask you, how much of the beehives did you use up?
I have to weigh what's left, most of it.
Wow.
But I would say, I'm going to guesstimate that I have maybe 25 grams left.
Not bad, because it's a 200-gram beehive.
Yeah. So
it was kind of like this.
Yeah. It was plenty for this, like I said, especially because I really needed to shrink it down because of those open sides. I just didn't anticipate that. And it's one of those things, I don't know where I would have looked to find that information because this is not a typical construction.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things you have to learn by doing. But now I know it's very useful information because I'm thinking of a dress with a top that's also going to be similar to this. And now I know.
Yeah. Shrink it. So to the exact dimension of maybe where your shoulder bone hits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was the measurement I used. But yeah, all in all, very happy. I chose these colors because I thought it would look really good with blue jeans, and it does.
It does. She wouldn't let me take a picture of it last night.
Like around the house, looking as random as whatever.
And I thought, oh, that's great.
I wanted to be a little bit, put together.
Mm-hmm. So we will have a picture of it on for you to see. But I thought it looked fab.
Yeah, because I'll probably be wearing it to the store tomorrow.
How did you block it?
Oh, yeah. So went to the Blockmeister. And this is very simple. Just put it in the Eucalan. And I laid it out. I did no stretching on it. But I did want to. I was going to steam block it. I ended up wet blocking it because I was getting curling on my ends, on my sides. And I just wanted to pin those out so they were flat for when I had to work into the sides.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if you guys can see it. You know what? I do have my phone here somewhere. I'm going to take some pictures so you can see how she picked up those sides so nicely.
Yeah, that's where the wonk comes in. Because one side looks better than the other. And it's because, when you start a double crochet row, usually you do a chain 3. Mm-hmm. I cheat. I do a chain 2 because when you work into that chain 2, it's going to pull up chain 2 enough that it's going to be the height of your double crochet. Because I don't pull up my stitches, so my double crochets are not particularly tall. The problem came in was when I was working into those stitches, because I only used a chain 2. That chain 2 gets pulled pretty taut, and when I worked into it, it ended up making that stitch pull away a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I have a little bit of gapping down one side, but
no, I don't. And honestly, that's one of the things that you as a maker notice, but just someone observing, I didn't notice any gapping on the side.
So working into sides of stitches is something that has always bedeviled me, and I'm just going to try to get better at it. One thing I did do was go down a hook size. So I worked this in a 4 millimeter. When I was working into the sides of the stitches, I switched to a 3.5.
You know what? You probably could have even gone down, another size.
I thought
and
about
that would have made the space you needed in those tighter loops. But that's a good point. You should think about how you want to finish the thing when you started, because you might have made that extra chain knowing you needed that space. So,
So we'll see. I'm gonna just, what I want to do? I actually just want to try making some swatches and then working into the sides of the stitches, just to improve that skill, because I'm still a little with it. I don't think about it a lot because I usually seam the sides. So however wonky it gets, it's a side seam. Like, get out my armpit, you're fine. But this time it mattered a little bit more, so it's just a skill I want to work on.
I can't wait to put up a picture of the original vest, because this vest, except for the form, it looks nothing. It's a totally different mood.
Yeah, that one was it was monochromatic, and it was completely single crochet.
Yeah.
And then, this pattern is from the 80s. I got it from MaryMaxon.com, which is a fun place to check out vintage patterns. They have patterns going back to like the 50s. And so she's wearing the vest over like a blouse with the bow. And so I don't know if you think like Blair Warner from
yes, she does make you think of Blair Warner.
So There are like very specific people that I identify with that style because I've seen that kind of vest over the blouse look. Marky Post from Night Court. These so it was really fun, but that's not how I'm gonna wear it. It was fun to see it, but yeah. I just wear it with a shirt with a collar, and I think it looks super cute.
I agree. It is super cute.
That's my FO, which I only had to make twice.
But looking at the original picture, which I will put into the video, what made you think of it for this yarn?
The stripes. Because so we had someone make a sample for us. Thanks, Jessica. Out of this yarn, and it was a shawl, a triangle shawl, and it was all stockinette. And I wanted something with all stockinette because I knew the stripes would play out really beautifully across it. And seeing that, I was like, oh, that's what I want, a fabric with those stripes. Just play out. Yeah. So that's why I wanted, because I knew, I wasn't going to do any kind of fancy stitching. I was just going to let the striping do all the work.
So, when you do see a vintage pattern, don't feel like you have to replicate that. Don't let the styling put you off from a nice piece.
It's
because
real 80s. I love it.
Lordy, yes.
I love it.
I wait till you see it. I can't wait to put a picture in the video.
So you have a finished object technically, but
I do. I have a finished object this week, but I can't show you right now. I'll put a picture into the video. I finished my Blossom socks, and I wore. That's why I don't have them. I wore them.
You wore them like the next day.
I surely did. I wore them. They were so comfy and so cute. So it turns out I really love short socks. Did not know that about myself.
This is the first short pair you made.
Yeah, I usually make them crew length.
But it's really cute, like with the dress you had it with. It was cute.
So I had on my cute little dress. I had a matching capelet piece on. So this was feeling quite fly.
So the socks are in the laundry right now, but I promise she really did.
Yeah, I really did finish them. I am not, and I know you don't have, the word from the bird is you don't have to wash wool socks every time you wear them, but I do. I am not a double wearer.
Right, it's just like a thing in your head, right? The idea of re-wearing the socks.
Yeah, I can't do it.
I gotcha.
So I do have a finished object, but you can't see them right now. But I'll put in the picture of me wearing them. And if you check out our Instagram, there's a picture of me wearing them. I love them. I am going to do shorty socks to wear with ankle boots. I think that'll be a really cute
that yarn. I really like that.
Oh yeah, vintage Superba.
Superba
vintage. Oh, got it. It's Rico Superba vintage. But it patterns really. I didn't feel like the need to really do anything. I made a plain stockinette sock that was anything but a plain stockinette sock. It patterns up so beautifully. They're on our website. Check it out, knitsheep.com. Oh, and the shorty socks. I made both socks for my size 11 feet out of 50 grams of yarn. And I only know this because I was planning to do 2 at a time, but I was like, oh, I hate all that cord pulling. And so I had separated my ball, and I only used one half of the ball for it. So I might end up making some, I don't know, matching fingerless gloves.
Yeah. That would be so cute.
Yeah. The people in the coffee shop will be greatly amused.
I made as well.
Yeah.
And so we went to get coffee, and she's wearing her capelet, and I had on something, and they were like, "You two look so cute."
Oh my Lord! Yeah, so
we're geeky stitch sisters.
Yes, we bring some life wherever we go. Okay, I'm just put it out there. We did. What else you got this week?
Okay, so I realized I've been talking about the impossible dress, and I guess I didn't show it because I ended up showing it in what we're calling the lost episode that we filmed, but it was just such a mess.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So then I didn't mention it when we finally recorded again, but I will show you the impossible dress, which I probably am going to try to get some work done on this week. We will see. So it's going to be a, just a tube dress, kind of bodycon type of thing. So if you can just imagine, I don't know if I can.
Yeah, you can stand up.
There we go. So imagine this going down the front center, and then it'll fit like so-ish. You get the idea.
Yeah.
But so I'm using 3 different yarns, which is like a first for me. So down that center stripe down the middle is just a mohair yarn.
Mm-hmm. It's Rae Silky Kid.
Yes. And then the beaded yarn is, I'm going to get this, Art Yarns Silk Beaded Sequin.
It's on the screen.
Okay.
Beaded Silk and Sequins.
I never get it right.
Yeah.
I never.
It's too
many words. Anyway, but I had 2 skeins of that, and so each one of these stripes is 1 skein.
Mm-hmm.
And so let me show you how long the dress is, because it's going to come down past my knees. And then third yarn is Fino from Manos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I'm doing my my half double, my half doubles again with singles in the third loop, because I wanted those stripes to be really close together. So I'm using very short stitch between, and I'm using alternating rows of single instead of all half doubles, because I don't need the patterning on both sides.
Now, does that make it quicker to do this?
I don't think so. I just didn't want to have bulk on the inside. And I thought it might save me some yarn. Because I only have 2 skeins of the Manos. Mm-hmm. And so this side here, that's 1 skein. And so now I'm working the other skein on this side. And then when I see how much fabric I get, I'll decide, I might do another stripe of the mohair down the center back. Yeah. And although, you know what, I might do that anyway. I don't know.
Just for balance.
Yeah, I think it'll be cute. So, but I have no idea how wide I'm going to need that center stripe to be, because I still don't know how to account for stretch. This is, going to be, I'm making it with negative ease, and I'm just going to, let it stretch where it needs to at the bust and the hip. But I don't know how to figure out what size fabric I need unstretched, because I don't know how to figure out how much stretch I can count on. Right. So I made a dress this summer and I did something like that with the bodice. So I worked the bodice with all single crochet, worked flat, and then just a part in the back, in the center back, I did single crochet in the back loop to give me a little stretchy section. And I got the idea from a dress that I had in my closet that had gathering and elasticized gathering in the back to make that back panel stretch. It actually came out just a tiny little bit too big, because it just stretched more than I anticipated. So
less fabric is better than more fabric.
That's what I'm thinking.
To stretch. So here's my suggestion. You have a dress form.
Yeah.
Put this on the dress form and adjust the dress form to whatever size you are now. And then you can just pin the dress on the dress form and account for the stretch.
That might be the thing to do. But yeah, so this is the impossible dress that y'all keep hearing about. And I call it the impossible dress because it's going to take so long. I don't know if I'm ever going to finish it. But I feel, and don't ask me what I'm going to do at the top and the bottom edge. I don't know. Don't ask me if it's going to have shoulder straps. I don't know. If it stays up without shoulder straps, it won't have shoulder straps. That's how I'm deciding these things. So understand, I don't know what I'm doing. I was just like, oh, let me make a tube dress. Let me throw these 3 yarns together. That was as much as I thought about it. I get an idea and then, oh God, I'm like, Mom. Because you should see Lisa's pregame, we're calling it, her pregame process for making something. Like, she gets out her resources and she looks things up and she makes notes and she annotates patterns and is really detailed. And it's very impressive. I don't do any of that. I just grab a hook at 1 a.m. and when they all wake up in the morning, they're like, oh, look, she started a thing.
Exactly. But it's not to impress. It's just so I can understand what I'm doing. I work better if I kind of have it. It's like
I feel like I would work better too that way. But I just
you get inspired.
I jumped the gun.
But you know what? You can do all of that after you start.
I guess.
You really can. You can do it all after you start. And then, you'd have captured information that you might want later.
Because I didn't do that with Vest 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I made it, I like when I made the front, I had X number of stitches going across, and then the back, I changed the number of stitches because I didn't realize, I didn't write down how many stitches I had done, and that's why I had to like take it out and add those stitches back in. So no, I don't do it after I've started.
Yeah. So when the fever cools,
do that.
and I get it because I get caught up in that creative, like I gotta do it now. But when the fever starts to cool, you should write some stuff down because it's so helpful because you think you're gonna remember. I don't remember anything.
I think, you know, the more serious I get about this now, as far as like really making clothes and really trying to just build a wardrobe out, I really am going to have to come up with a system for note taking and having all of my information organized so that I can go back to it. So if I want to make something similar in the future, but also I really want to have a sense of how long it takes me to make a thing because I don't clock those hours at all. I might be able to tell you how many episodes of the show I watched, and that's as close as I come.
Yes.
And I really want to have an idea of how much yarn I'm using. So I'm going to try to get into the habit of weighing what's left of my skeins afterwards so that I can do a better job of trying to estimate how much yarn I'll need to make another thing that might be a similar size. So these are the skills that I'm just trying to develop now because, you know, when I first started making garments, it was just like, oh, I made a thing. And now that I've like gotten used to the idea that I can make a thing, I really want to try to just formalize the process a little bit for myself so I'm not quite as chaotic.
Yeah, and creative chaos is not a bad thing, but you don't want to like lose important information in that creative chaos.
So what you got? Because you just started a thing.
I did. I'm also working in Colorburst. It's from University. Nice I like it.
I am just very happy with it.
And I was surprised that my experience of ripping it out was so different than your experience.
Me too.
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's because you know you wrap the yarn so much more when you crochet so that it just kind of bumped up against each other more. Because when I ripped back, it just came right out.
Yeah.
Because I was ready to, you know, have to pull and then snap.
Yeah.
But no, not at all.
I had a lot of pull snap happening.
It's a 65% merino, 35% acrylic. So
and it's a DK weight.
And it's a DK weight. So it is 100% washable, which I love. Because I love being able to pop my makes into the wash machine. Oops, I just got caught up in my bag. Okay, there we go.
Kind of, sort of.
Mostly. So I made a few decisions about this shawl. So right now I cast on the Stephen West Painting Rainbow shawl, which I adore. Look at that.
Painting honeycomb.
Painting honeycomb. Sorry. I don't know why. He has several in the painting sequence series of patterns, so I'm all confused about them. I'm making the large honeycomb shawl, and I am getting such a kick out of watching the colors change in these little honeycombs. I can't wait. I have been waiting for the pink to arrive for a couple of days now. I kept looking. I was like, I know the pink's coming. Where is it? But take a look at that. It's really fun. Now, this is actually the type of knitting I really like to do. Because once you've established the pattern, it's so easy to see what to do right there in the work. So I'm not chained to a chart or a diagram or anything like that. But you have to keep count. The cast on for this is over 200 stitches. So I had to be really focused on my count. And this is also a 2.0 project because I had gotten not quite this far. I had gotten like almost to the closing part of the honeycomb when I realized you are short exactly 3 stitches, my love. And I was planning to just kind of make it work because I could do that. But I would have had to continue to make it work.
And that's what I was saying because, she don't like to rip out. My mom and I will reduce it to rubble.
these two can have a sweater when I go to bed, and in the morning there could be a puddle of yarn, depending on who's ripping out. This one will at least bawl as she goes, but that other one there.
But so when I initially ripped out part of the vest because I was missing, I think it was like 2 stitches, she was making fun of me.
I was. Oh,
because when we talked about last week, didn't you say, "Oh, tell them how many stitches it was"?
I know. I was just like, 2 stitches. You gonna rip it out for 2 stitches?
But I wanted my count to be right. So when she was short 3 stitches, and
she got such joy out of that. Look at her face. Look.
And she was planning to just like fudge it, and I was just like, you really don't want to do that with such a geometric design.
And you see, the honeycombs really have to line up for this thing to work. And I would have just had to keep making them line up.
Even as a non-knitter, I could tell you from looking at the picture, like you really want your numbers to be right.
Yeah.
And she's like, I think about it.
I did. I had to sleep on it because I was mad. I was like,
but now that you did rip it out and start over.
Yeah, it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. I like it. What caused the mistake though for me was I misread the pattern. I needed to do X number more stitches, and I took that X as the final count, and it wasn't.
So it was 3+.
Yeah. So I had, you're supposed to have 3 on the needle already, and then do, let's say 100 more to end up at 103.
But now all the numbers are right.
Yeah, it works everywhere.
And that is my project, and I'm so happy.
Yeah. And with Stephen West shawls, it has the usual I-cord start, and I'm building an I-cord edge as we go. And it's such a neat edge. I really, really, really like it. What would I change? Well, I change a bunch of stuff. But I think then if I do another one of these shawls with this I-cord, I might go down a needle size just to make my I-cord smaller and neater. In this particular shawl, I upsized it. Now, this one, the measurements at the longest edge of the original would be about 70 inches. And I wanted something a bit longer than that. So rather than adding stitches to it, I upsized both the yarn and the needle. So I'm using a DK weight, and the pattern is written for fingering. And I am using a 5mm needle. So 5mm you usually use with a worsted weight. So I'm getting slightly bigger stitches. And I'm glad I did, because this particular stitch, it really pulls in. So it's helping me keep things loose. And I noticed that Stephen West, although he wrote it for fingering weight, he had to use a 4.5mm hook. Excuse me, 4.5mm needle. So he was looking to loosen up that fabric too. So I loosened up my fabric a bit. And I could have gone up another needle size, but I tend to be a loose knitter anyway. So I wasn't going to have, tightness issues. So if you're a tight knitter, you might want to go up maybe 2 needle sizes, like so a 6mm or a 6.5. But I tend to be loose because, as you can see, this is pulling in on itself. I am going to block the living daylights out of this to make it lie flat. So this is something that I would wet block and pin, just because I want this to be a flat fabric. And when I do stretch it out, look at that. I'm loving it.
That's cute.
I'm seeing really this cute as my kind of go-to everyday shawl.
Now, initially, you were going to do this outer edge, the borders of the honeycombs, and a pink.
I was.
But I like this color because I feel like it's making all the colors in the Colorburst really sing.
Yeah, I changed the color. I kept, what it was too? I kept going back and forth on the pink. So I guess my mind really wasn't settled about it. But once I started doing this with the light border, I really, really liked it.
Yeah, I think it was a good call.
And it's going to go with most things I wear. I mean, even with this all black today, this is just popping right off the black. So the other thing is, as you build the 1,000,000-inch I-cord cast on, one of the things Stephen West suggests in the pattern is that because he knows most American knitters are using circular needles for everything. I switched almost immediately to double points to do this cast on, because rather than having to switch these stitches back onto this other end with all this cord hanging down, I was able to just slide my stitches to the other end of the needle, and my I-cord went much faster, because you're going to be casting on for a while. But
I didn't seem to take you that long. I mean, you finished most of it in a day when we were at the store.
Yeah. That's not what you said that day, but all right. You were like, I didn't think you were ever going to finish.
It just kept going and going. But
yeah, it's a long cast on. But the beauty of it is, once you've done the cast on, this thing shrinks every few rows. So as you do the pattern repeat,
it's going to be a
triangle. It's going to be a triangle. As a matter of fact, I've done the first decreased section. So now this row is significantly shorter than the first row. And then the next row will be shorter than the next row. So actually it will go faster the more you go. And I will have a bigger shawl than Stephen West. I don't know exactly how much bigger, because I didn't swatch. I know. Mon Dieu, indeed. But because this is a flat piece, and I knew I wanted it to be bigger.
Yeah. It's not as important with shawls.
Yeah. It's not as important with this particular shawl at all, because the size is not going to affect the shape. I'm still going to get the same shape. I'm just going to have more fabric. So I'm going to have something luxurious to wrap around me. Oh, and my main color, this creamy color, is Ultra Wool Decay, which is a superwash wool that is also machine washable and machine dryable. So I have the bounce and joy of wool, but the easy care. Cool. Yay. Oh, and the other suggestion I'm going to give you is, because there's a lot of rows that you have to repeat X number of times, make yourself a little chart. Because once your count gets off, you really have to rip it back, because nothing is ever going to line up again. So that's a great way to keep your count kind of intact as you go. So that's my shawl.
You don't have those little stoppers on the ends of your needle.
I don't.
I feel like that would be so. I couldn't put a thing in the bag without the stoppers on. I live in, when she tried to teach me how to knit, I just live in fear of stitches falling off. And
this type of project, I can push it to the middle of the thing and just leave it like that. If I'm worried about it, I stick the ends in the ball.
Okay.
And that usually is enough to keep everything intact.
Okay. I don't know. For me, knitting is just like,
that causes her such distress. But it does. I'm like, oh, you poor thing. It's gonna be all right.
Like, they're not my stitches, and I'm so like worried. I'm like, ah.
And as always, I am working on my sweater. I have trees now. It's great. It's great. It's good. But you know what? Working on these two projects at the same time is really making it clear to me what kind of knitting I really like. Because although I love these trees and I think it's going to be great to wear, I am chained to the chart, and I feel chained to the chart.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have the stoppers on this because this will slide right off. And I have like the maximum number of stitches for this needle, so I do keep the stoppers on here, and my trees have grown. As a matter of fact, I am going to be working on this today because I spent 2 days working on my shawl, and I'm going to spend 2 days working on this exclusively. Look at my trees. You don't know how happy I am with that.
That's your little enchanted forest.
It is my little enchanted forest. Loving the little trees. But I did this in Pixel from Barocco and Barocco Ultra Wool. Barocco Ultra Wool is my like go-to baseline wool. If I just want some nice superwash wool to do something with, my hand will just automatically reach out and call to me. Accio, Barocco Ultra Wool.
Lord mercy. Oh.
I'm a little Harry Potter-ish. But there you go. But that's what's up with that. I'm in the home stretch on the bottom of this sweater. Hallelujah. And I will have it to wear for Christmas. So yay.
Yay.
And New Year's, you'll be seeing me wearing this sweater. So what else you got, Crystal? I hear there's something afoot.
So I'm gonna have to
Oh, I
like
broke my nail.
start swatching. Um, it's gonna be a cardigan, and let me tell you the story.
Mhm.
Because what had happened was I bought this really cute little cardigan for like not a lot of money because I got it at like a TJ Maxx or something. And it was just an off-white fuzzy cardigan that I loved. And I threw it in the washing machine, which was not the problem. It was when I threw it in the dryer. Completely absent-minded because I have some things that I put in the wash but I don't put in the dryer, and I usually remember to take them out when I'm switching. But I didn't remember at all. And when I took it out of the dryer, not only had it shrunken, it was like hard, like crinkly. It was just like completely unwearable. That was not a donate item. That was a throwaway item. And one day I was sitting in the store and I saw the mohair and I was like,
wait a minute.
I can make that sweater again, something like it. So that's the origin story for my cardigan that I'm making. And so I will be using the Silky Kid.
Mm-hmm. That's from Ella Rae.
Yeah, this is like super.
Yeah, super bright. Yeah.
And Angora Lace. This yarn is Angora Lace from Universal. So this is a it's merino, Angora, and nylon. And I will be holding these two together, which is something I don't do often because I hate being attached to multiple balls of yarn at the same time. I find it very stressful, just because when you put them in the bag, bad things can happen. But I want a fuzz. So.
And you know what? What I've been finding with the mohair is that once you put it together with the other yarn, it acts as one yarn. And I haven't had those tangulation problems because they just don't try to take them apart. But even if you have to unravel, just pull them apart as one yarn and make that a little ball of its own, and you'll be golden.
So what I don't know though is what stitch pattern I'm going to use, because part of me is just like, just do single crochet, because one, it's super simple and I would make everything out of all single crochet if I could. But I'm worried about whether or not the mohair, if I try to do a texture, would the mohair obscure the texture? So I'm actually just going to swatch it two ways. I'm going to just do a plain single crochet swatch, and then I'm going to do a swatch with some texture to see, if it plays out nicely with the mohair in it.
Yeah.
And figure out what kind of stitch pattern I want to use. And I actually have a store-bought sweater that I'm going to like just steal those dimensions. That's exactly the size and shape that I want my cardigan to be. And so I have to get that and make some measurements from it. And then that's how I will decide the sizing.
Nice.
So I have to start swatching and spending some time with some stitch dictionaries.
Yes.
But it should go okay.
I think it'll be fun.
I'm also, I'm going to be using a smaller hook size because I don't like using big hooks with my small yarn. So this one is recommending a 3.75 millimeter. I might even go down a little bit. 3.75 is a surprisingly big hook.
It is. It is. It's surprisingly large.
So I might go down from that a little bit. We'll see. I don't know how carrying it with the mohair will affect that, but the mohair is so fine. I still might go down.
Mohair is deceptive. It fluffs. It fluffs. And after you wash it, because you saw what happened with my hat. After you wash it, it became like a beast up in there. It was like very mohair forward.
But you use Ultra Wool, right? That's only washing.
That's not a washer. As a matter of fact, I hand washed it.
No, hand wash, dry flat.
Yeah, this is a hand wash, dry flat. But wetting that mohair and let it dry just in the air, it just gets bigger.
So we got a new. So you know what? I'm gonna try to do like my pregame process with this.
Yes, absolutely.
We're gonna see how that goes, because I really just want to grab a hook right now, and
I know, and just dive in.
But I'm going to try to pregame this, so we'll see.
Actually, I too have a swatching process that I need to get started on. I'm gonna be swatching Universal Yarn Deluxe Chunky for my vest. I'm making a vest that I found. Now, I fell in love with the vest, right?
Mhm.
Before, and here's what happens to a lot of us. We fall in love with the picture of the thing
See what happened was.
before we really check out what's going on. So I
Mhm.
set my heart on this vest and bought the pattern before I saw what that SML sizing actually meant. So it turns out the pattern I bought does not contain a pre-written size for moi. So one of the things I'm going to have to do is figure out
Mhm.
how to change the sizing. But alack and alas, I suck at math. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm not doing any equations. I'm not doing any
The look she gives me
algebra.
every time I say PEMDAS.
Okay? I'm not doing any of that.
Like I just started speaking in tongues.
Because she did. I dug out my handy dandy knitter's book of patterns.
You just have all the books. Okay.
I don't have all the
You have
books.
all the books. Every book else.
But what this is a book of charts that gives you sizing. So let's say I want to make, I don't know, a hat. Just a basic hat, but one for everybody in the family. This gives you the sizing, the cast-ons for various gauges and weights of yarn. So what I will do is I will pick a vest out of here, or even a sweater out of here with a similar body plan, and just use that for my sizing.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. So no,
And
no,
this,
not a lot of
it's
math
not.
required.
It's you can do any kind of stitch pattern you want with this, right? Or was it designed with specific stitch patterns in mind?
Oh, it was designed with specific stitch patterns in mind, but you can change out the stitch pattern if you want to, because let's say the easiest thing to do, all right, if you don't really want to do any math at all, is pick a stitch pattern that divides evenly into your stitches, into your stitch count. And it's really just like lifting a pancake off the pan and putting it on the plate. Now, if you want to radically change that, then you got to play around a little bit.
So what kind of stitch pattern will you be doing? Will you just be doing it in stockinette? Or?
Oh, no, I'm going to do the stitch pattern on the...
It was like kind of like a waffle weave almost.
Yeah. Actually, I'll put a picture of it up, but I have my pattern here. In my notebook. I don't know why you give stink eye to the notebook.
It's just so organized.
Well, you know what? It helps because if I'm going to be going back to this over and over again, okay, here it is in black and white, but I'll put a good picture in. And I want to make the waffle weavy one. Because they do have a version of it in stockinette, but I really just fell in love with that texture. And I love that big braid on the edge, on the sleeves. And at first, I was thinking about skipping the turtleneck, but it turns out I like the turtleneck. So I'm going to go with the turtleneck and everything. And that's my plan for this. But I'm going to have to do some serious swatching. I'm going to do large swatches. I'm going to practice this stitch pattern because I am one to let my mind wander while I'm knitting. And, that doesn't work when you have to do seed stitch.
Sometimes you're reading the subtitles.
Sometimes I am reading subtitles. So I'm going to have to pay attention to the stitch pattern. But that's my plan for upsizing this. Now, let's say you're a smaller than average person. You can also use this to downsize items without having to do, a whole bunch of math. So that's the plan. I'll let you know how it turns out.
So you got your sweater and your shawl. Will you not start the vest till you finish one of those? Or
I'm going to do the swatching on the vest. I will probably, I don't think the shawl is going to take an inordinate amount of time. So once I have the shawl finished, I'll probably start the knitting on the vest, but then I'll know exactly what I'm doing. So I'll know how to shape the V, because I'll know how to shape the neck and all of that.
Cool.
Yeah. But do you want to swatch together, or you want to swatch in the night?
I don't know. I don't schedule or swatching. I just grab a hook, so it could happen anytime.
Oh gosh. Okay. And I think, let me see. Is anything else on my list? No, I think that's it for me. How about you?
Yeah, no, that's it.
Alrighty. Everybody have a great week. Thank you for spending this time with us. Do like and subscribe. It will really make our mom happy. And we will see you next week. Bye-bye.